Welcome Hunting World to the Hunting Principles here in Southern Missouri. This video is going to be about my food plot that I have been working on now for about 2 years. So I'm hoping that as we go through this video that maybe you can learn a few things if you are looking to establish a food plot or begin a food plot, and maybe give you some pointers and some ideas for things that you might want to do. This is my second year working on this plot, and as we go through this video, you're going to see some things that I've worked on or that I've done, and this is a relatively equipment-free food plot. A lot of hand tools or just elbow grease and sweat. So as we go through this video, I hope that you will get some pointers and some ideas for what you're doing, but also that this might be an opportunity for you to see some things that don't necessarily have to be extremely expensive food plots. There's also some things that I'm doing in this video, and I will show you some of those pictures and some of the things in this video that I think I can do better on. So I hope that you're going to join me with this video. I hope you will enjoy what you see in this video and that you'll take something from it. So go along with me as we go through my food plot. This is year 2 in Southern Missouri, so I hope you will enjoy. So here, guys, is my plot. This is one of the first roads that leads into the woods. It's a small logging trail that I've seeded down with some clover and some winter wheat. It leads into a center section here that is a little bit more open. It gets a little bit more sun, but not a lot. It's still kind of fairly internal into the woods. And then that leads into another smaller trail. The smaller trail leads down into what I would consider the main section of the food plot, and that's what we're going up here now. It moves into a fairly well sunlit area that ends up being probably my best area of growth, and then a small section off and to the right that provides a little bit more, but this is kind of my main plot right here that this will be my hunting area in. So well, there you guys have seen in the video clips kind of the basics of my plot. The plot is basically a logging trail and logging area food plot. I went in and did a lot of clearing with a weed eater, with a chainsaw, trimming back some limbs and brush. Did go in with a mower eventually. I did have a friend come in and breast up some of the ground with a disc, but it really didn't work all that well because it didn't really fit down any of the logging roads. So when I say it's a fairly equipment-free food plot, we did try to bring in some bigger equipment. It just didn't fit. And so most of this was done with either a tiller, a hand rake, a hand spreader, limbing shears, chainsaw, things of that nature. And so trying to use the natural roads and the natural area. With that being said, as you can see in the picture, the growth is not super tall. It's about 5 to 6 inches tall, and that's probably some of the best growth in that plot right there in the middle section that gets plenty of sun. So what I'm trying to work on is improving the soil as well as trying to maintain a budget on this plot. So these pictures here and the videos that I've just showed you are just a kind of a synopsis of what my food plot looks like and what I've been working on. So as you guys can see from the pictures, the food plot that I'm working with and the videos that I'm working with, it's relatively spread out. It's using the logging trails and the loading areas and stuff that were in the woods to begin with as kind of the base for my food plot. And I have a couple of logging trails that I use and have put the clover onto, but I also have a couple of areas that I've just kind of cleared out that deer travel through. This is about 20 to 25 acres in Southern Missouri. It's not a real big piece of property to hunt. In fact, it's basically a thoroughfare between a large 400-acre farm and off into some other smaller farms on the other side of the property. So it's really kind of just a place for me to establish something to maybe hunt over on an occasion. And so relatively cheap is what I was talking about at the beginning of this video, and trying to basically keep this under a budget. And so as you see in the video, there's some things that I'm doing here with this food plot that basically is buy a couple of pounds of clover, establish that clover, try to keep it clean, and then have a place to hunt. So as we go through these next couple of clips here in just a little bit, I'm going to post some pictures of some of the deer and stuff that have been coming in. What I did with this food plot was go in and clear as much brush small limbs and trees and open up the canopy a little bit as much as possible. But the landowner does not want me to take out a lot of trees. So I can't just go in and drop down a bunch of large mature trees to open up the canopy the way that I would want. So this is relatively go in and clean out as much of the brush and limbs and overhangs as possible to create enough opening for this clover to go in and take off. My first year, I did not take the time to really initiate a good soil test. And that is probably one of the things that I would recommend if you're food plotting as a newbie or as someone who's never food plotted before. Spend the $14 or take it to the USDA or whatever your local co-op is and see if they can do a soil test for you. My first experience was I went in and did all the clearing and tilling with my rake and my tiller and trying to establish a soil bed for the seed, and threw out a throw and grow type of food plot mix, and it did not take off at all. In fact, I don't think I got any growth whatsoever. And I went back and did a soil test from Tractor Supply Company, a cheap one, and found that my pH was low and found out that there were several nutrients that I could add to that. And so on a budget, I tried to pick up a few 100 pounds of pelletized lime that didn't cost me too much. And then I did end up putting a couple bags of fertilizer on, doing another round of tilling. And what I ended up doing was I had a friend come in with a disc that was just too big for the plot. We did get some of the open sections done. So I did bring in a little bit of equipment, but for the most part, this plot has all been done by hand. And when the tractor came in with the disc, it was just too big and we couldn't really get a lot of those trails. And so what we ended up doing was getting as much of the larger plots as we could. Then we were able to get some clover established. And so what I have been doing the last 2 years now, since getting that clover started about 1.5 years ago, 2 years ago, is I will go to my local feed store and buy about a pound of clover. This food plot is about 1/4 acre. And what I have done is, now that I have some established food plot growing, I try to keep it clean. I try to keep the weeds out to the best of my ability. And then I go in the spring or in the freeze and I throw out about a pound of Ladina and crimson clover mix. And so what I am able to do is, for about $1.50 to $3 in the spring, I can go out and frost seed a pretty decent growing clover in this area, as you can see by these pictures, and not really have a lot invested. So far this year, I have put on about $2.50 worth of clover and about $14 worth of triple 13. So it's really not a whole lot of an investment for me this year, but there are some things that I'm wanting to work on. So as I close out this video here in just a little bit, I'm going to put some pictures and some videos of some deer using this food plot. Hope you'll enjoy them. I hope you'll see what I've been working on, and I hope that you'll come back and join me for some more videos as I follow through with this summer. But if you have comments or if you have tips or things that might help me in my food plot experience here this year, hope that you will put those in the comments below. Hope that you will subscribe and follow, as I am a self-admitted newbie to the food plot business, as well as a everyday run-of-the-mill hunter who's trying to have a good time out in the woods. So I hope you will join me in that. Hope that you will comment along the way, and hope that I can help you guys out in some way. So thanks you for watching tonight.